coming at you live on a Sunday morning. It is August 25th. The dog days of summer are just about over. To my right, I have the biggest, baddest Banks in the East, Mr.
Big Banks.
And I am Stroobs. This is the reunion show weekend. I'm back in D.C., even just for a little bit, before I jaunt out to California again. Important topics to get to you. We have polling data, poll numbers. The Rasmussen polls from late July and early August have been released in the last couple weeks or two. But they show, of course, that Donald Trump's numbers are up among black voters, either likely black voters or black registered voters, anywhere in the order of 5 to 10 percentage points when compared to respective dates, the same dates of 2018 last summer. So, Big Banks, what do you make of this? What's your take?
Well, you know, it was going to happen. It's bound to happen because he has did things to improve not just black people's lives, whites, yellows, greens, you name it. So, I mean, he has actually transformed how you actually campaign to the minority group, even Latinos. Now, we don't have that polling, but the Rasmussen poll actually showed in the black community he was up almost 34%. So, I think that's even good, and I think that's even more scary to the Democrats now because now they see real competition. And they're trying to go to a different narrative to discredit the president when it comes to certain things.
You saw that. You saw what the New York Times, they got some hot water, rightfully so, this last week. Public discussions amongst their staff, shifting the narrative. Let's go ahead and the Russia stuff didn't work out for us, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to start pushing the racist narrative, which is not necessarily a change. They've still been beating that drum home for the last, since before he was even elected, right? Since 2015, since he announced, there's been that push, that kind of drive in the media to castigate him as a racist. But if you look at from a policy standpoint, if you look at his signature on the First Step Act, you look at the bipartisan support there, you look at unemployment figures, you look at other economic indicators, at least minorities doing a lot better. This justifiably should follow. I mean, 1/3 approval, 25-32%, that's not great, but that 5-6-7% difference was, as opposed to last year, was unexpected and unanticipated. This comes after the Baltimore comments, but you're right, there is stuff there. I think that a lot of African American voters are starting to look beyond the ridiculous media narrative, and they're starting to think for themselves and not.
Well, I can say they just want to see the truth, and the truth is really telling to the black community because it's. My father used to say, I'd rather know the enemy that I do know than the one I don't. They know what they're dealing with Trump. And they know, and I think a lot of black Americans can actually see when somebody is faking it or just trying to put a facade on their face. They see him for what he is. And if he was really a racist, as they say he was or is or whatever it may be, the tape would have came out, information would have came out, all kind of stuff.
Correct. There's not a whole lot of detrimental stuff. If you look back to the 1990s and you see his banning about with the likes of Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and the acclaim he received, are you going to look to bad housing deals in New York and some sort of strong-armed kind of housing tactic from the early 90s as the sole indicator or as the key indicator of anti-blackness in Trump? I don't know.
I mean, and plus he has received a lot of rewards from NAACP, from the Rainbow Push-Ups, even Crazy Al, Bobblehead Sharpton. Have you seen this new body? Anyway, but that's another conversation. But
here's a photo for you. Folks. Take a look at that. Al is right. He didn't get the matching head to go along with the more svelte and trimmed down body. But
when you look at the black community now, it's actually understandably happy with what's going on right now. A lot of my neighbors who are black who came to me and say, they'll whisper and say, "Hey, I'm gonna vote for Trump this time, but I can't tell nobody." I actually had a neighbor whose wife hate Trump, and he don't know how he's going to break the news that he's going to vote for Trump, and he's black. So I think the narrative right now that
it's starting to collapse. It's starting to kind of starting to fade, and rightfully so. It's long overdue. I'm surprised that they've been able to push it so long. The New York Times on that same topic, they're pushing the 1619, 400 years of slavery. So there are some interesting articles. I'm not going to say great articles. There are some interesting pieces in the New York Times now coming out about the foundational, I don't know if you can call it foundational desire or love for slavery, or basically the country is committed the original sin and is irredeemable because of slavery, overlooking all of the other worldwide factors that existed at that time. And slavery is awful.
But it's not that awful. I mean, I'm not trying
it's
to...
awful.
It's awful. Let me say this right here. It is awful, okay? But when you look at other countries right now who actually practice slavery, the New York Times is not writing about that.
Correct. There is a real deal issue of slavery and indentured servitude happening in the here and now.
Right now.
With the New York Times, why is the New York Times pushing for the historical piece when they could be actually going out and sending investigative journalists to
Liberia,
Mauritania, Liberia, Ivory Coast, all sorts of other places in Arab Africa, the Arab Africa area, Niger, Chad, those kind of places where we probably do have people who are being sold, human beings who are being sold, children who are being forced to labor to pay a family's debts based on either a caste type arrangement or system. But that seems to be the topic right there. Why are you doing a period piece on American slavery from 400 years ago? At least the genesis of that.
But let me say this right here. And I don't get, and I was talking to a couple of friends about this, I don't get why we want to keep picking at a sore wound. I mean,
Correct.
in order to heal it, we're going to move, because if you keep using the narrative of slavery or segregation, you're not letting people get past it and grow past it. We understand it's a part of our history, and I get that. But the thing about it is that if you can't move forward and say, okay, that was the past, we'll study it, but you keep bringing this to the forefront just to make people upset, it's problematic.
Correct. That's absolutely true. So we're going to stick with that. For their part also, we got another show coming up about the 2020 Democratic contenders. They keep pushing the idea of a race-based identity politics. Big Banks and I suspected that they were going to start to move towards center, but no, the topics still revolve around reparations and how bad police forces are and how endemic racism is in American police forces and all this other stuff that I don't think moderate African Americans or moderate minorities of any stripe are going to really care for.
No.
I don't think that is going to quit telling Big Banks that he's oppressed. Right?
I'm a victim.
The victimhood mentality. This is an old card. This has been played through the Obama years. This was played by Clinton, and you know what? It might have the same effect for the Democrats now. I think most Americans are trying to look beyond race. They understand that the country has a sordid history, but they want to get on. They want to move on, and they want to do their thing. Right? So, for Mr.
Big Banks,
I'm Stroobs. We'll catch you next time, and stay tuned, of course, for our new 2020 contender breakdown show next. So, peace, folks. Thanks.